the strange questions. اللي بيجينا one question, one question, one question, one question. It's really important نفهم well الأسئلة الغريبة دول they're not really strange على فكرة بس you don't practice it enough. أنا دلوقتي بكون practice activities للأسئلة دول but it'll take time. Anyway, so let's begin. We're going to begin مع question number one. أنا هسألكم على two things. يا إما هنحل السؤال أول من جديد يا إما أسألكم كم سؤال عشان نفهم نجيبها منين. Let's begin. A lot of questions here. All right, so let's begin. Lajan Salama, Mr. How do I keep up with classic excerpts? They are too difficult to understand sometimes. Your job is not to understand all the details, right? Your job is to understand the general idea. Yani, for example, number one or paragraph number one introduces characters or introduces the setting or the scene. And then in the next paragraph, it talks about, I think, the door. Bye, Ibrahim. It talks about the door and then the rose bush and then the people في الآخر, right? This is a mock test عملناها امبارح. So I'll send it to everyone. If you want to get out of class right now and solve this as a mock, بعد كده اتفرجوا على الريفيو اهلا وسهلا مش هقول لكم لا. Right? Anyway, so the point is you have to understand بس الفوكس بتاعت الباراجراف. You don't need to understand بيقول لي ايه بالظبط عشان there's a lot of details. ولو تاخدوا بالكم these reading questions مش بيسأل عامة في details. It's usually not the main focus of the information. لو بيسألني في detail ممكن يسألني evidence, but generally speaking, do not get lost in the details. You try to بنحاول نكون صورة عن the passage as a whole, right? So I have a question. This is a fictional passage, right? Usually, for fiction, when it asks for the purpose of the passage or the theme of the passage or the main idea. Yes, Mrs. Habiba. And the last review, Moguda. And the main idea. These are three of the same type of questions. Where do I find my answer? This is really important. Now again, for fictional passage, when it asks me on the theme, the main idea, the purpose, هلاقيها فين؟ Most of you هتقولوا لي زي آدم بيقول لي in the introduction. That is not true. It's in the conclusion. Thank you, Mrs. Ottawa. الفيكشن أو تكوين. Okay, Mr. Jamina, you promised me وابعت لي التست analysis. وانت كمان يا حبيبة وانت كمان يا روز. اي حد يخرج لازم تبعتوا لي the test analysis. Thank you. Anyway, so with fictional passages, unlike in science or the humanities وباقي حاجات ديت, in the fiction المين idea, الثيم والpurpose بتظهر في الاخر. اخر 30 40 line numbers. Why? Well, the reason is لو عارفين اي قصة, you have the exposition, rising action, climax, resolution, falling action. دايما answer choice or main focus بتيجي في resolution for the following action, right? So a lot of people told me, Hannah, for example, the primary purpose of the passage, discuss the door of the prison. So you have to ask yourself, well, لازم أسأل نفسي, does the whole passage focus on the door of the prison? في paragraph, a big one, يركز على the door. Is that the purpose of it? No. When you talk about people في البداية, the bearded man, when you talk about the door, when you talk about the rose bush, all of that is in context of what? Of prison. الحبس كل ده all of it is related to prison, right? And you're going to find it, I think, the founders of the new colony بيكلمني عن the people right here. Where was it? Right here, the old yard of King's Chapel. واقفين في مكان الحبس or مكان العقابة. That's where they're standing. That's the location of what's happening here. Like all that pertains to crime. So clearly, برضو الauthor لازم يقول لي شوية حاجات throughout the passage. يقول لي, well, this is for prison. This is for crime. This is for punishment, right? What else? Oh, هنا about the rose being kind to him. Well, again, this is in relation to punishment, صح؟ عشان اللي بيعاقب بيشوف الrose bush. There's a lot. The prison door. Throughout the passage, you find this theme. But is it about the prison door? No. It's about the prisoners, right? الناس that are in the prison. Describe the inhabitants of Boston. Again, are they in the passage? بس إيه لازمتهم؟ هم بيتفرجوا على العقاب. That's not the purpose of the passage. The purpose مش عشان يشرح لي or describe the people of Boston. The purpose of the passage is to tell me about punishment. طيب ليه بيكلمني عن ال people? Well, because هم قاعدين بيتفرجوا. And same thing with answer D. Introduce the importance of the rose bush. Does the author do this? Yes. But in context, إيه علاقتها مع ال passage? The rose bush gives hope to prisoners. So all of it is C. Present the context of punishment in Boston. عشان بس تفهموا, present the context includes the door, includes the inhabitants, it includes the rose bush. All of that is context. So برضو احنا ممكن نقول إجابة A, B, and D are too specific. I did it too much. So I wouldn't say any of those. Line 22. The word lot. Where is that word? Oh, so I'll just give you 1 minute. I want you guys to solve this question again. بس I'm making it حل. أنا هطلب منكم. How do you know? How do you know? ده مهم قوي. مش تكتبوا لي إجابات وخلاص, right? How do you know Maryam and Adam? Exactly, Mrs. Ottawa. بالظبط. دايما مع vocabulary لازم في حاجة يقول لك, well, the answer is here, right? So if I'm reading context, very good job, Maryam. It tells me, good job, Adam, right? That the first burial ground was on Isaac's lot. Now, here's the thing. The commas will cause confusion. صح؟ يلا جاي. Commas cause confusion. Ignore the commas. نيجي نقرا الباسج أنا مش بقراها as if commas are there. I read it as if commas are not there. I read it straight through. وبرضو another good thing ممكن يساعدك is to identify independent ideas. عشان important ideas usually will be found في independent ideas. Anyway, so the burial ground was on Isaac's lot. So was it on condition? Well, lot معناه condition, will bundle, will fate, will ground. But here it's ground. How do we know? Because the burial ground was on a lot. Lot معناها حتة أرض. Mrs. Stoker, ابعتي لي Mr. Sam answers. Okay. Question number 3. Now, here's the thing. أنا كنت عايز أعمل inference question, but a lot of you guys did very poorly في passage ده, right? Did very poorly في passage ده. And we want to work as to why. Number one, a fictional passage is not the easiest passage. All because it's a story doesn't mean you understand. يعني لو احنا حلينا الفيكشن وجبنا 20%, 30%, save it for last. Wait for other passages. Anyway, so the author alludes to the rose bush's existence as, so what is its existence? Justified? يعني حقها, right? Arbitrary? يعني without reason. Meaningful? Well, you guys know that. Loving. Elusive. يعني to run away. يخلع, right? In context of the passage, الروزبوش بيعمل لي ايه؟ In context of the passage, الروزبوش بيعمل ايه؟ ايه لازمة الروزبوش في الباسج؟ ايه لازمتها؟ Okay. So البريزنر لازم تخيلوا الكونتكست, right؟ واحد محبوس, واحد بقى هيتعاقب or whatever, بيطلعوه من الحبس, correct؟ ومراجل او ست بيخرجوا من الحبس بيشوفوا ايه؟ بيشوفوا الروزبوش. بعدين الاوثر بقى بيركز لنا قوي على الروزبوش ده. And what does the rosebush do for the people? Well, لازم في evidence. The rosebush pities the people. The rosebush is kind to him. You see that? The fragrance and fragile beauty to the prisoner as he went in, and to the condemned criminal as he came forth to his doom, in token that the deep heart of nature could pity and be kind to him. So what would you infer about the rosebush? Well, أول حاجة we can understand it shows pity, it shows kindness. So ممكن نفهم there's empathy, right? الروزبوش عندها empathy, حاسة باللي قدامه. Okay. Justified? حقها غير موجودة? Well, we kind of don't know if its existence is justified, so I wouldn't say justified, right? Arbitrary? Without reason, without logic? Well, maybe. عشان الباراجراف اللي جاية بيكلمني برضو بيقول محدش يعرف موجودة ازاي ولا ليه وكده. Meaningful? يعني ايه meaningful؟ يعني loving, deep, maybe. Elusive or مش elusive يعني هربان مش عارف امسكه. You have to look at the function of the rose. الروز مش ده يعتبر character. الكاركتر يا جماعه في الستوريز ممكن يبقى اي حاجه، ممكن يبقى حيوان، ممكن يبقى شجره، ممكن يبقى كرسي whatever. طالما فيها role، طالما بيعمل حاجه في الباسج it's considered a character. So هنا what is the character, the rose bush? What is it doing? It's showing pity and kindness. So دلوقتي أنا عايز كلمة that shows me or is connected to pity and kindness. وطبعا هنقول إيه؟ هنقول إجابة C. Right? Meaningful. It's meaningful to the prisoner. عشان the prisoner لما يجي يخش ويخرج بيشوف الروز bush. بعدين بقى في characteristics of the rose bush, which is pity and kindness. I think this was evidence, but I'm going to go ahead and skip that for now. What other do we want to do? What other questions? Okay. Number 5, this is purpose. The author uses descriptive language in the first paragraph too, right? So Hannah, why? Why is the author using descriptive language? إلى why? بيعمل إيه؟ If you read the paragraph, a throng of bearded men, sad colored garments, gray steeple, crowned hats, intermixed with women, some wearing hoods and others bareheaded, was assembled in front of a wooden office door. No problem, Mrs. Malak. I would say to set the mood, right? To set the mood, well, let's say to set the tone of the passage, not the mood. Oh, how do we know? The tone. What is the tone? Is it happiness? Is it sadness? What kind of tone do we have in passage that? We would say it's drab, it's gray, it's dry. That's the tone that we have here in the passage. You can tell بالimage الموجودة هنا. The author's giving us what the people look like. Okay, so now a descriptive language. Allow the reader to visualize the opening scene. Well, do these details, these descriptions help me see what's going on? Why? Malak Sema. Attend A. And please send to Mr. Sema answers. Anyway, so is it to visualize? Does it help me visualize and see? Yes. كده معناها إجابة A صح؟ لا. Question mark. Prove his large repertoire of descriptive diction. في كذا واحد قال لي إجابة B. يا جماعة ده قصة. الأوثر مش هيكتب لي ستوري عشان يوريني عنده كلام كتير ممكن يقدر يقولها أو يقول vocabulary واسعة. Doesn't make sense. Okay, Malik. I mean, I don't think you need it. I got it twice, right? With vaccines, you know. So you're not going to say it's proving his large repertoire of descriptive diction. Confuse the reader? Really? So I'm about to give information so I can confuse you. Think about these answers. Objectivity description that lay. طبعا مش عشان confusion. Build up the punishments to take place. This is interesting. Question mark? Question. Is it to build up the punishment? Or is it to allow the reader to visualize the opening scene? The better, more direct answer is A. Right? We want to use the minimum steps of logic. So sometimes I have a text and then الانسر صح؟ طبيعي. ودايما في النص is a point of logic. لازم, right? لازم أفكر كده. So one step to the answer في English is much better than many steps. يعني إيه؟ If I say إجابة D, build up to the punishments. Well, لازم أقعد بقى أقنع نفسي for several reasons عشان أقول إجابة D. لازم أقول نفسي مثلا okay, the author بيديني great tone or a depressing tone. وده كده معناها well, he's trying to make me sad. He's trying to make me sad عشان there's some punishment happening at the end. And so he's writing the punishment to build up. Too many steps. Too many steps of logic. So when we solve questions, one step of logic is the best thing to do. يعني direct. Make a local one step, one jump. ده كده معناه الإجابة is direct من point A to point B, right? Let's continue. What else are we going to do? Number 6, vocabulary, right? Look at line 35. Pertains. Pertains. It means concerns. But why? Well, لازم في سبب. Why? Why is it concerns? فين في الباسج أو هنا في line numbers does it indicate an answer to you? You have to think like this, صح؟ ما أجي أشوف vocabulary لازم في حاجة يقول لي the answer is B. ليه بقى؟ بالظبط يا أروى. Number 1, there's a comparison. Like all that pertains to crime, it seemed never to have known a youthful error. So like crime, okay. So like all that pertains to crime. What kind of word can I think of like all that is connected to crime, all that is related to crime. when it fits الكونتكست مش كده بيقول لي well crime مش عشان اليوث مش عشان الصغيرين. So this door, like crime, like all that connected to crime, it never has seen a youthful era. So that's why بنقول concerns. Concerns مش معناها الآن. Concerns معناها إيه؟ Connected to, related to. طبعا concerns اللي علاقة ب issues, situations, مش blood relation. Number 7, 8, no, 9, and 10. Oh. 7 and 8, just so you know, how can people see or how do people view the crime? You should have, caught it in the end here. هم مش عايزين يفرجوا على العقابة. However, لازم يفرجوا على العقابة. So they have, or we can say, they have dual feelings. Okay, anyway, they have dual feelings. So dual feelings, يعني two things existing at the same time. وده مش أول مرة نشوفها. Dual means like up, below. This is dual. Or fast, lazy. This is a dual relationship. Okay, number 9. You should have gotten this even without Y, not D or C. What number are we talking about, Yarwa? Number 7. Okay, good questions. So here, the inhabitants' perception of law, the point of view of law and punishment can be best described as why not C, why not D? The inhabitants did not participate in the spectacles, but viewed it as a necessity. The inhabitants feared repercussion if they did not observe the punishment. إجابة دي يتشال على طول because I don't think they feared repercussion. I don't think that they were worried that some sort of punishment was going to come and get them. Repercussion معناها revenge. So there's no repercussions here, right? And if there is, it's not very direct. There's that. That's why I didn't say he gave it a D. Now, with a give it C, well, it is an interesting answer. And happens did not participate in the spectacles, but they did, but viewed it as a necessity. مش كلهم. You can't say that about everyone. يعني انت بتقولي في give it C جايين غصب عنهم. We really cannot say that about all of the people, right? If you read these line numbers, it might be two that in which like old Mistress Hibbins, In either case, there was a very much the same solemnity of demeanor on the part of the spectators, as befitted a people among whom religion and law were almost identical, and in whose character both were so thoroughly interfused that the mildest and severest acts of public discipline were alike made venerable and awful. You have to understand this type of context, right? So what is the author telling us here? Or what is the author letting us know? Well, the author Biolina, religion is so deep in these people. يعني مش هتعرف تفرق ما بين religion and the person. That's number one. And number two, because it's so deep, because it's so interfused, mixed in their personality, the punishments are respectful, بيحترموها, بس نفس الوقت awful. So we cannot say answer C. عشان مش جايين غصب عنهم، هم عايزين يفرجوا على العقاب، هم بيحترموا العقاب، بس في نفس الوقت بيخافوا من العقاب. So that's why we say A. They have two feelings. They love it, and at the same time, they're scared of it. Are these line numbers wrong? Until present? They are 9 until 16. 1 second. I think they're a bit 76 until 81. Not wrong. The door. The 78 until 83. زي ما حدش قال لي كده. 78 until 83. In awful. At 120. Whoa. 112 until 120. Are there any other line numbers مش accurate قوي ولا هم دولت؟ All of them؟ ما حدش يقول لي. ليه ما حدش قال لي؟ بتهزروا يا جماعة؟ ما حد communicate with me guys on. Okay, because you guys are smart. 123 until 128. Can you guys fix them for me? Okay, fix that. وبرضو هو في الباسج ده ولا كلهم؟ كلهم بشكل عام. Oh God, we have to review all of this. ماشي. The author mentions meager indeed and cold was the sympathy that a transgressor might look for from such bystanders at the scaffold. These numbers are correct. 1 until 123. That's strange. Okay. Meager يعني ناقص, right? Or معناها بالعافية, مفيش, مش يكفي. Indeed. So the author is emphasizing. Now again, the author is emphasizing the meager people. It was cold. Cold was the sympathy that a transgressor might look for from such bystanders. How would you describe the tone of the passage or mood of the passage? Poverty, austerity, and remorselessness. Any austerity? Does anyone know? It's okay, Mrs. Malik. يعني إيه austerity? All right, of course. But what is the meaning of austerity? مش عارفين. What is the meaning of remorselessness? Remorselessness. مش عارفين. Most of us. You're correct, Arwa. So we check other answers. Compassion, concern. Well, أنا عارف ما فيش أي concern هنا. Empathy. Well, يعني empathy. You need to know the meaning of this word. Empathy means أنا حاسس بيك. But no, it's cold. وبرضه indifference, they're not really indifferent. They're more participating. So through elimination, ركزوا على الكلام احنا فاهمينها, you would choose answer B. Focus on the words you know. And if you don't know any of the words, هتعملوا ايه؟ ما تضيعوش وقت. Guess, move on. Because I think we know some of these words. Oh, one more thing. Austerity معناها زي أروى قالت لي stern or unbending. وبرضه austerity معناها cheap. cheap مش رخيص. cheap يعني بخيل. What is the relationship between the last paragraph and the rest of the passage? I identified this as the purpose of the passage, right? Or a purpose-based question, right? So you ask yourself, well, آخر paragraph that, it's a big paragraph. All of this, إيه لازمتها؟ إيه علاقة الباراجراف ده ما بين باقي الباسج؟ Well, إيه اللي بيحصل هنا في الباراجراف؟ Definitely not, Mariam. What happens here, الأول? First, you need to identify the events of the passage. So what is the event هنا في الباسج? Someone is getting punished, and then the inhabitants are watching. That's what's happening. So the last paragraph presents the reader with the criminals, while the rest of the passage describes the gallows. Maybe. Well, I know here that the last paragraph does present the reader with the prisoners or with the criminals. بس كلها the whole last paragraph. I mean, كان في جزء بس عادي انا اشوف اجابه ايه استنى اشوف ايه الاجابات. The last paragraph builds upon the analogy of the rose bush. No, it doesn't build upon the analogy. Analogy معناها equal situation. يعني مثلا بيشرح لك circumstances اللي حصل في paragraph so يديك نفس circumstance مع موقف تاني. No, right? The last paragraph provides contradictory supporting details. No, it's not contradictory. كل حاجة or everything is in line. The last paragraph informs the reader of the type of spectators at the gallows, while the rest of the passage describes the context of a prison door. Interesting. So I have A or I have D. Well, I go back to A and I focus, well, the rest of the passage describes the gallows, the prison. No, doesn't just describe the gallows. No, Lojain Salema. This is really important. Lojain Bitooli, well, Mr. Sama, this is confusing. The entire passage doesn't necessarily talk about the prison door. The answer does not say the prison door. The answer says context of the prison door. Well, yani context. Everything related to the prison door. So they talk about the building, they talk about the rose bush, they talk about the hardness of the door, and then they talk about the spectators. So don't ignore, right? Any questions in for passage number 1? I guess I can review the full test. It's really important. نعرف review التست بالكامل. نعرف اللي إجابتنا صح وغلط. A history of the plague in London. The main idea of a passage. Whoa. Well, الباسج ده كان بيشرح لي إيه؟ كان بيشرح لي خبرة شخص. Yeah, I know, legit. It's called tunnel vision. Sometimes amnigi, when we get stuck on a question, our vision ba'a goes from wide to narrow, which is bad. Tunnel vision معناها أنا مركز قوي على حاجة and I ignore everything else. So that's why when you're stuck on a question, leave it. ارجعوا في آخر الباسج أو آخر الامتحان. You'll be able to see things you didn't see before. Anyway, so here, هنا الراجل بقى بيتكلم عن his experience of the plague in London. He's talking about the dead bodies in the street. He's talking about ازاي ما خبوا السوق جوه لندن اللي كان جوه لندن وطلعوها بره London. It reduced the number of infections. A lot of things going on here. I enjoy this passage. I found it very interesting, right? So what is the main idea of the passage? It shouldn't say main idea. It should say, what is the purpose of the passage? So main idea, you have topic and argument. اسمع علينا. مش مشكلة. Same style question. Conclude a premise. Conclude a premise means like prove an idea. كده معناها. Right? Refute an argument. يعني go against an argument. Present societal consequences. يعني consequences in society. And establish a reputation. Well, احنا عاد فكرنا. We know that it's about a guy's experience in the plague and everything that happened because of the plague. So obviously, what is your answer? Be C. Present societal consequences. Number 12, vocab. We're going to definitely do vocabulary. Line number 81. See, if the line numbers 80, 79, 78, God. Okay. I changed it again. I'm fixing as I solve. Yeah, I'm fixing it as I solve. This possessed the heads of the people very much. ويعني ايه possessed the heads of the people? It possessed the minds. So obviously the author طبعا مش بيقول the head نفسه. Right? زي عربي لما تيجي تقول استخدم دماغك مش معناها استخدم الدماغ نفسه يعني فكر. Use your mind. Same thing. Right? Same thing. So here, when you possess the head, you possess the mind. And when you possess the mind, that means you occupy the mind. مشغول, right? You're thinking about issues or whatever. Number 13. I don't think we're going to do 13. 14. برضو I'm scared the line numbers بايظة. Oh man, I'm so sad. I have to fix. Okay, Malak. I have to fix all of these lines. تيجي حد يجي يصلح the line numbers 9 until 15, 16 to 20. ازاي دول صح؟ 21 until 25, 20 until 25. And the last one, 27 until 31. But up until private, so it'll be 26 until 30. I swear, I feel like my neighbor upstairs, يعني كل يوم بيقتل حد. I feel like it. Should call the cops or something. Okay, Mrs. Malik. Which of the following is not mentioned in the passage? Why do you guys have a hard time with this question? I'm a bit confused. I feel like this type of question المفروض يبقى, an easy question. اللي مش موجود في passage. Which question, this is classified as exception. Which passage, because I forgot what I read, then you don't use memory. So I'd say that if you can't solve it right away, save it for last. لقينا بقول لكم كده عشان باقي الأسئلة هيجبروني نقعد ندور على إيه؟ باقي information, right? يعني في evidence لازم أدور عليها vocab. So أنا هقراها تاني. So لما يجي يقول لي well exception question, which one is not mentioned? I solved this after I finished the other questions. عشان ال other questions أنا خلاص هقراهم وهقرا الباسج تاني. So save it for last. بدل ما اقعد ادور من اول ومن جديد. Use your time wisely. Anyway, if I remember correctly, the answer here would be C. عشان A, it was unclear where the plague had come from. لكن موجودة. He does say we don't know where this plague had come from, right? B, the government attempted to keep the presence of the plague in Holland secret. Yes, the government attempted to keep it secret. And D, people avoided areas where there were no deaths caused by the plague. No, or they do, excuse me, second time around. They avoided بقى كان لابسين ماسك ومش عارف ايه. So they did avoid it. But people were disturbed by the initial news. I don't think that people knew about the initial news. They didn't know can be plague for Holland. The government kept it a secret. So how can the people be disturbed if it's a secret? See how that works? Number 16, are we gonna do that? Yeah, no, that's a direct comprehension question. Number 17 is evidence. 30 until 34. I wish you guys told me about this. Until 34, 40. The it. 39 until 43. 39 until 43, 58 until 63. That was temple. 56 until 61. It's مش وحش قوي in the line numbers. Not that bad. 81 until 86. Definitely not this. 78 until 83. Number 18. As used in line 95, observed most nearly means 91. Okay. So here, بحب أبدأ من البداية to understand context. This increase of the bills stood thus: the usual number of burials in a week in the parishes of St. Giles in the Fields and St. Andrews, Holborn, were from 12 to 17 or 19 each, fewer more or less. But from the time that the plague first began in St. Giles's parish, it was observed that the ordinary burials increased in number considerably. I would say it was recognized. It was realized. That's what I would say. My vocabulary, حاولت اختار create a word. So view is wrong. عشان view معناه انت شفت, right? But the author's talking about the bill. This is the bill. Honored. يعني تحيا? No. Celebrate? Definitely no. Discerned. يعني discerned. يعني differentiate. تعرف the differences ما بين this and that. Number 19, the first chart with respect to the passage. I mean, yeah, look at the chart with the passage. He's giving me numbers, and then he's giving me the bill. This is the bill. So obviously, what is the function of the chart? ولازم نتعود على كده. هيقول ايه علاقة الchart مع باقي passage. Usually a chart supports a passage, مش شرط. But most of the time it should, right? So it supports statistics given, not contradicts, not new information. The chart is irrelevant. This is lazy. This is lazy answer making. And if the chart is irrelevant, بيكلمني عن St. Gilles هنا, or Gillies, or Gillies, I don't know how to say it. You know, say Gillies and Andrew, so, and all the people that were buried. Number 20, the second chart, it is observed that, this is the second chart. Well, what do we observe in the second chart? Let's see. Burials had the largest increase between 17 and 24. 474 buried, increased 59 people. ده محتاجة حاجة ولا لا؟ مش محتاجة أي حاجة. A. Any questions here for passage number 2? Any problems or any concerns? Cool. Which one was this about? Okay, cool. Animal behavior and the beautiful elements. This passage is just never ending, is it? Right? So let's talk about the elephant. It's talking about what the elephant likes, dislikes, and how it's in captivity. All right. In the first passage, from the minds and manners of wild animals, a book of personal observation, Hornaday discussing elephants' mental capacity. Any mental capacity. Intelligence. Yeah. Capacity معناها your intelligence, your ability to think. And passage 2 is their natural habitat. According to passage 1, many more anecdotes are told of a dog's mental reasoning than an elephant's, because why does the author talk about the dog's mental reasoning more than the elephant? Right. This is cause and effect. The classification here can, P1, cause and effect. A lot of you did very well for P1. A lot of you did very, very well, right? So why does the author talk about dogs? Well, let's see. You read, it must be admitted that a great number of more wonderful anecdotes are told on equally good authority of dogs, but the circumstances in the case are wholly to the advantage of the universal dog. So هنا بقى it shows me a whole effect. More stories are told, and أكيد هيجي cause. While the former, the elephant, roams at will through the master's premise, through town and country. I'm sorry, the former is the dog. Mingling freely with all kinds of men and domestic animals with unlimited time to lay plans and execute them. The elephant in the captivity is chained to a stake. So why do we know more about dogs? Because the dog can roam freely and the elephant can't. It's chained. So people are fonder of dogs. They love dogs more. It doesn't say that. Listen, you hey, elephants are limited to simple means of expression. It doesn't say that. Elephants do not show a high level of reasoning. No, dogs have the liberty to roam as they please. Deep, very clearly, very direct. We have more anecdotes about the dog because of what? Because they're able to play freely. Unlike the elephant, محبوس طول عمره. There's something else I'm fixing. في updates جديدة جاية في التست engine. Hopefully الابديتس هيخلص قبل المحاولة بتاعتنا, بس I don't think so. 3 until 8, okay. 8 until 11, 6 until, where the heck is the elephant? Oh, 6 until 9. Yeah. Fast guys. And then a while until drinking. So it's 9 until 18. God. And then 18 until 20. Cool. Line 23, line 26 means most nearly means. a means ممكن يبقى كذا حاجة. It can mean money, resources, method, or substance. So here, there is no means of estimating the wonderful powers of reasoning that an elephant might have. It means there is no way. So which answer means there is no way? Money, resources? No. Method. Method معناها how you do something. The main idea of passage 2. In the paired signs, where do we find the main idea? In the paired signs passage, where do you find the main idea? Science, humanities, Egyptology, geology, almost anything non-fiction. يا إما يجي in paragraph 1, يا إما in paragraph 2. Obviously here, you're going to say, is it here in paragraph 2? Okay, guys, be very careful. The main idea of passage 2 is actually the purpose of passage 2. مش مكتوبة عندي أنا غلط. الoriginal PDF مكتوبة كده, the main idea. But it's actually a purpose question. which عرفنا the purpose question عشان to illustrate, to establish, to formulate, or to recount. These are verbs. لما الإجابة بيبدأ بالverb, it's asking us for purpose or function. The main idea يبقى topic plus argument. Just so you guys know. مش كده نلخبط شوية في ال answer choices دول at the right. So what is the purpose of this passage? It's about the intelligence of an animal. The intelligence of an elephant. The keenness of an elephant. يعني keen. Sharp, right? Quick. Doesn't mean that exactly. So here, to establish evidence against an elephant's natural behavior, no. To formulate a hypothesis on elephant behavior, is he really formulating a hypothesis though? I don't think so. عشان hypothesis هيبقى في بقى research question, and we don't have that here. Recount an unnecessary event. يا سلام. يعني في حد يقعد يكتب لي unnecessary event? Of course not. So I think it would be to illustrate the sharpness or the keenness of an elephant. In passage 1, what is the relation of the first paragraph to the rest of the passage? Well, ما احنا شفنا ده كذا مرة, right? It's not the first time we've seen this. This is a P1 purpose question. In the science, عامة أي حتة, almost anything. In paragraph number 1 is to introduce, right? يديني introduction, to introduce an idea, especially for science, social science, humanities. So the first paragraph focuses on the intelligence of dogs before shifting to elephants. والسؤال بيسألني, what is the relationship? So basically, what is the function of the first paragraph? The first paragraph بيعمل لي إيه? And the first paragraph builds the premise. يعني the premise, the claim, the idea. And the rest of the passage supports it. Does that happen? Yes. The first paragraph contradicts the rest of the passage? No. ما فيش وقت كافي or space enough في الدبل passage عشان يديني an idea, بعدين contradiction, بعدين يقول لي contradiction صح. It's not enough space to do all that. خدوا بالكم. التست makers, they're مزنوقين في السبيس or how much they can do. So لو عندي double passage مش هنلاقي flip-flopping. ده صح ده غلط ده صح ده غلط. Right? The first paragraph is unrelated. Yes. في حد قال دي؟ Did anyone say D? I hope. No. Right. A. No, not A. Sorry, B. 26. According to passage 2, what can be inferred about the elephant's behavior? Well, this is, I hope the evidence is lined up correctly. I'm tired of fixing this evidence. Anyway, what can we understand about the elephant's behavior? I think elephants are pretty cool. You know, I think elephants are pretty cool animals. I don't think the author said anything negative about elephants. The author didn't say anything insulting about elephants. Okay, this is it, right? The situation الauthor بيقول هما كان في بحر ميه or whatever وجوه الميه ده كان في elephant بس ما حدش شايف elephant, right? So هما كانوا محتاجين يروحوا ياخدوا cover or shade or something like that يخشوا تحت الشجرة, right? بعدين elephant شافهم and what did the elephant do? Spray them with water. So these are the people just chilling, talking, and the فجأة كده, the elephant comes and sprays them with water. So are they stoic, hard, and indifferent, cold? No. And do you know elephants to be that way, أساساً? عامة elephants are cool animals. Reserved يعني shy and observant. Mischievous and playful, yes. عشان الموقف اللي كان بيشرح لنا هنا. And basically, an elephant thought, okay, surprise, and then spray them with water. Number 26, 93 until 94. Can you give me 1 second, guys? This, what the heck? 95 until 97. The fable. One of 4 until 108. Wow. I'm surprised you guys were able to do this. All and then come in. 109 until 116. Gosh. You hear that damn dog? Went and played 116 until 120. How many evidence questions are in the test? 2 per passage. Exception question. In passage 1, all the following are mentioned except elephants held captive cannot reach their full potential. Elephants can communicate without a sound. Elephants need to see the threat to locate it. Elephants are able to move silently enough not to be observed at all. If I remember correctly, for number 28, I think the answer was A. The author doesn't discuss it. Although passage 2 وكده عن captivity ومش عارف ايه, but the author doesn't say captivity بيأثر على an elephant or elephants held captive cannot reach their full potential. We can infer it, but it's not stated. It's not stated. طبعا أنا ممكن أقعد أدور. Elephants can see the threat to locate it. I think this was mentioned. I think it was mentioned. Uh-huh. In the jungles of India, the writer frequently has seen wild elephants reconnoiter dangerous ground by means of a scout or spy. Elephants need to see the threat to locate it. They communicate intelligence by signs, retreat in orderly silence from lurking danger, and systematically march in single file like the jungle of tribes. This is the paragraph, right? So they send or they have to see or look for the scout or spy. يعني بيبعتوا حد عشان يقعد يدور. Although this is kind of, I mean, elephants need to see the threat to locate it. Maybe I don't know the meaning of reconnoiter. So let me look that up. Reconnoiter. What does that mean? أساسا مكتوبة غلط. Making military observation, an act of reconnoitering. Thank you there, Google. So to look for threats, although I don't like this answer. I don't like this answer. I can see why you're confused. It does sense danger, right? It goes to dangerous ground by scout or spy. المشكلة, elephants need to see the threat to locate it. لازم يشوف الثreat عشان يعرف الثreat موجودة فين. But answer A is like, okay, ممكن نقول إجابة C فيها شك. Not very good, answer choice. However, A is not mentioned at all. يعني مفيش حاجة يديها لنا الشك, right? So the real question is, why did you ignore A and then choose C? Did you read passage 2 first? Did you read passage 2 and then solve? Or were you able to solve كل passage 1 الأول? It's really important to know why we chose C and not A. What can we said about passage 1 and 2? You guys did a really good job fill double questions. I really like that. The passages have a similar writing style as they both use the first person, and they both do, right? They both do use the first person. Very similar. I like this. They have a different theme? No, they both talk عن elephants. Both passages contradict. لا. Passage 1 بيتكلم عن behaviors. Passage 2 بيتكلم عن mental cognition. أو العكس. Can't remember. Right? So they're not contradicting. بيكملوا بعض أو they build upon one another. The passages have a similar tone of indifference. I feel like passage 2 likes elephants. So Matakich, there's a tone of indifference. We go with answer A. A4, apple. Which of the following points would the authors of both passages likely agree to? Well, what would they both agree? Well, elephants are pretty cool animals, right? Elephants can be malicious towards intruders. I don't think so. Actually, in passage 1 بيقول they retreat in orderly silence from a lurking danger. So بيبعدوا. So passage 1 doesn't say they're malicious. An elephant's intelligence is clearly an elephant's intelligence is clearly misunderstood. I mean, we can say underestimated, but I wouldn't say misunderstood. I wouldn't say that مفهوم غلط. في فرق ما بين to underestimate يعني ما تعملش حسابك right بالكافي وفي فرق لما تيجي تقول misunderstood يعني مش مفهوم right. Answer C. Despite the fact that most elephants are observed in confinement, elephants exhibit astounding intelligence and behavior. I would say answer C. Actually, passage 1 talks about an elephant in captivity, and passage 2 also talks about the captivity of the elephants, right? And they both talk about how smart or intelligent the elefante is. Elephant. 31, line 100, assembled. Where is the word. Wow, 105. How did you guys do this? They got kudos. I'll make sure line numbers مظبوطة المرة الجاية. I'm pretty sure I did them correctly, but it is what it be. Here, the crowd often assembled. They collected, built, connected, or gathered. The crowd assembled. So which answer is a good answer for assemble? The crowd assembled, right? The crowd gathered. Okay. أنا عايز أعمل passage 4 بس I guess we can save ممكن نسيب passage 4 و5 بكرة عشان أنا عايز أكمل passage ده. I want to fix it up or I want to review the full passage معاكم بكرة. النهارده هنزلكم mega mix practice 1 2 3 4 في الميجا mix practice هو معمول عشان dependent clauses و punctuation based questions or modifiers and fragments. So I'll be uploading those. هو خلاص موجودة بس هنزل اللينكس في الكلاسروم عندنا so you can solve and practice the dependent clause questions. بكرة we're going to review the rest of this test. وبرضو هنحل mock test writing just so you guys know. وبعد كده أنا هعمل confirmation معاكم يوم الأربعاء. كده هيبقى في حصة يوم الخميس الساعة 9 الصبح مش 8:30 نخليها 9. أعرف أشرب لي كوباية قهوة كده على الصبح كده. So Thursday, we'll have a morning class. It'll be from like 9 until 2. خدوا بالكم. So اعملوا حسابكم على الموضوع ده عشان we're going to do a mock reading break, mock writing, break, mock reading, break, review. In mock writing, 35 minutes, 10-minute break. Yes, it will be recorded in Stuka. And then a reading mock, and then a 1-hour break. Okay, أكيد هقول لكم، أكيد هبعتها في classroom وأكيد هبعتها في الواتساب groups. The homework, I'll upload it على الساعة 9 so you can practice your grammar. Any questions before we move out? Yes, yeah, Mariam, the recorded sessions are in the classroom. Not the test advantage. The recorded sessions are, let me share a screen for you. Classwork. Do you like my thingy? The test advantage. Tests. Chat. هنا class recordings. وبرضه uploading vocabulary activities عشان برضه يبقى عندكم فرصة تدربوا على vocabulary. Any questions before we bounce out for the day? You can learn anything, Mr. Sema.